and welcome to the show. This is The Couch. My name is Pratt. It's our first show of the year. I haven't seen you in 2024. So official pa. This year, we hope to make, 2024 our best year yet. And so this year, we on The Couch hope for us all to hold our hands and do that, together. And so the shows that we have planned for you have you in mind, but have your growth, and your fulfillment, if that's, the way to put it, in mind. So welcome to the show. Today, our conversation is one that I'm eager for. I need this conversation. I'm sure you do too. It's a new year, we are still in January and the dying numbers of January. Today is the 30th of January. So far, how is it going? Last year, just before the year ended, we had conversations around, journeying into, the best 2024 that you can have. But how is that going? If that's going well, great for you. If it's not, don't worry. We have it on lockdown. I don't mean me. My guest has it on lockdown. So tonight, our conversation is on mindset. Our first conversation is on mindset. Mindset. Think about that. Let me introduce, my guest. My guest for this evening is our man, D-man, lawyer, thinker, coach, Mr. Theodore Albright. It's great to have you back.
It's a privilege to be here.
Official pa. Amen. Amen. I mean, it's been tough. It's just 1 month in,
yeah.
And I'm already feeling the pressure of 2024. It's like January gave me the welcome that I, January was like, well, hello.
Yeah.
So January's been really, really tough for me. I don't know about you or anybody else, but for me, everything has happened in January. Everything, right? It seems so overwhelming, And I was telling you before we came on air that I blame you for that, because you gave me vim and prepped me up, and so maybe I took on too much. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But our conversation today is on mindset.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I know how you would tackle it for everybody else. For me personally, it'll probably be about getting my mind right and centering myself.
Yes.
And being able to sort of be and give of my best.
Yeah.
When you say mindset, what is it?
So your mindset is how you see the world. Simply put, when we are conceived, about age 2 months into conception, our brain starts to work, and it regulates our body, our system, until we are born. And then when we are born, about 5 hours after birth, we start to perceive and conceive our environment and begin to be cognizant of language. Okay, so then we are able to express, although not audibly, we are able to define different languages, different sounds, within 5 hours of birth. Mind you, the baby would have heard some of the sound in vitro within the womb. But your mind then begins to grow, i.e. your brain collects data, information, and your mind then uses that for decision making and choice. All right? So you take on this data, and this data then helps you to navigate the world. So the purpose of your mind is to navigate your universe, the external and internal universe. The data you collect enables you to navigate well, excellently, or perfectly. That data you take then shapes the lens through which you see the world. And so your mindset or your set mind is data collected which influences your perception, which allows you to navigate the world around you, the universe. Okay? And so when you set it like concrete, it becomes a static bank of data or data set out of which you draw insights to deal with knowledge, decisions, choices, etc.
So, I mean, immediately it tells me that we are looking at a twofold, concept.
Yeah.
One, it says, I mean, what is around you?
Mm-hmm.
Because you are collecting data, you are
That is
collecting
correct.
information. So one, it's about, where you are born, who you are born to.
Yes.
There's a word for the socialization.
Yes.
So there's that angle.
Yeah.
And then there's the angle of what you yourself do with that information.
That's
and how
correct.
you decide to then navigate with the external. So,
Yes.
so twofold.
In fact, I would say that it's multifaceted because the information, like I said, you're collecting information. When you're born, you don't have a choice who gives birth to you.
Absolutely not.
So there's a process, for the first 3 or 4 or 5 years, there's a process where your geographical location, your social norms, your education, your clan, your biology, your DNA, your parents, etc., will influence your social norms, will influence the information that you take on board. So your parents, your location defines the information gateway for you. Okay? Tribe, language, location, etc. defines the gateway of information for you. Not even to talk about genetically what you receive from your parents and your parents' parents and parents' parents and parents. Because when you look at my DNA, you'll be able to identify my great grandparents if you had their DNA too. It means that your DNA carries a code, a language, and that language has definitions in there about what your mind will be, how perceptive you'll be, how susceptible you'll be to the color red or green or blue or yellow. All of that is already encoded. So to an extent, there is an issue of nature. Then, when you are born, there's an issue of nurture. And then as you grow, you make choices. And so, at some point, the nature issue is curtailed, and you then, as an adult, begin to take on information. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so let's carry the conversation.
Let's go. Let's not waste time. Let's get ahead of ourselves. Let's go.
Okay.
So, nature you can't help.
Yeah.
Nature, to some extent, you can't help. To some extent.
But in
the beginning, you, because, I mean, let's say you are born to a father who, has a very problematic worldview, mindset. He's going to, unconsciously, consciously sort of hand you his worldview and his, so those things, to an extent, you really cannot help. In the beginning.
In the beginning.
But there's a point at which you have to take responsibility.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't want us to waste time on the nature because it's out of your hands.
Yes.
Can we stay on nature a little bit? And then we come to the point at which,
So, at some point, you have autonomy. Right. All right. But let me say this, that we are first emotional before we become rational. So rationality comes through our through the process of the norms, the traditions, etc. around us. That is what we imbibe. Okay, but emotions, they are triggered and they are directly linked in a sense to our personality and our genes. So we cry before we understand why no is no and yes is yes. So for a young child, for example, they will cry up to the age of 3 before you can't do that, stop it, starts to make sense. So we are emotional before we are rational. That is really important with the nature-nurture debate. And the reason why you should not totally ignore nature is because it is fixed in your DNA. So you have a propensity, or what people say, a liking, and you're drawn to certain things. And sometimes those come through your bloodline, and other times they come because of socialization. So I wouldn't say that if your father's a genius, you end up being a genius. But sometimes some of that passes through. So there are attributes like eloquence, curiosity, creativity that come through genetically. Okay? So it is almost as if the plot has already been created for you even before you've come out of your mother's womb. You know? So nature is really important. But philosophers and psychologists and sociologists tell us that at some point there is a flip, and that it's a kind of 50-60 nurture, your choices, because you have agency, as against the 40. And you can begin to diminish the impact and import of nature as you exercise your agency. But mind you, I can never run as fast as Usain Bolt because I'm not built like Usain Bolt. But he probably will not be as eloquent, although he might be funny. I love Usain Bolt. So he might not be as eloquent or want to become a lawyer, for example, because his talent lies elsewhere.
And so to that extent, we definitely cannot, like you say, ignore nature.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in the leveling.
Okay.
The point at which you sort of get a hold of your agency and utilize it, positively. Because you can't utilize it negatively.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's what I'm interested in.
Okay.
And I mean, if you are watching the show, then you are old enough.
Yes.
and nature is out the window.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
But then if this is the point at which you are, is there redemption? And I'm using redemption in terms of perhaps you haven't used agency, perhaps you haven't, let's say you have the most brilliant genes, but you haven't sort of, because of life choices, refuse to nurture, refuse to read, refuse to engage your brain, I mean, talk to me.
All right. So at some point there's a flip over.
Right.
Okay. And the Oracle of Delphi says, man, know thyself. Shakespeare says, to thine own self be true. The quest to find yourself and know yourself has to be the single most important decision you make. And the reason that is important is simply this. Unless you define an object, it is difficult to ascertain its value. So definitions give meaning and also alert to value. And so you as a human being need to be able to define who you are. Find you. Critical. Number one. And why is it important? It's because out of the 8.3 billion people on the planet, there has never been you. There will never be you. We cannot manufacture you. Even when you have twins, they are different genetically. Remember I spoke about the genetic code, your DNA? It is different. And it is different for a reason. You are a monopoly. And therefore, when you find you and you express your monopoly and you optimize your monopoly and you exploit your monopoly, the remaining 8.3 billion people get to have the benefit of your genius. And I use genius in the widest sense. If you ask a fish to ride a bicycle, you will think the fish stupid. But if you put the fish in water, you will know how clever the fish is. And so quite often, we need to get ourselves into our sea, our water, and not be riding the wrong bicycle. And you can only do that if you know who you are. And so that is why it is critical. It's critical because once you find you, you will then be able to make a value contribution that nobody in history, nobody coming forward will ever be able to do, because there's only you, one you. And all of us have a maximum, give or take, of 876,000 hours. And so it is imperative that you find you very quickly so that you can express you for the benefit of the rest of us.
I mean, and I've said this to you before, it sounds like the simplest thing to do. Give us pointers.
All right. So how do you find you? Or how do I find me? You have a skill, which is the use of your mind. Okay? And now, God bless him, Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, says, "Tell me where I will die so I don't go there." It means there are things that are good for you and there are things that are harmful for you. And when you look at the Ten Commandments, there's an interesting study. Out of the 10, 8 of the commandments are thou shalt not, and only 2 are thou shalt. It means that cut away that which is not you and leave what is the pure you. Cut away that which is not you and leave the pure you. Michelangelo says, when he was creating his statue, David, they said, "How did you do it?" He says, "I just chipped all the things that were not David, and what remained was David." So your starting point should be, what don't I like? What don't I want? Okay? What you want is as important as what you don't want. So what don't I want? What is not me? Start to cut all of that away. All right? Rather than say, what is me? You do both at the same time. What is me and what is not me? And as you begin to chip away at what is, I don't like football. I haven't watched any of the African games. For me, it's just a waste of time. Okay? But it's a beautiful game. And I know a lot of guys who've gone over to go and watch the game, and a lot of guys who spend hours watching the game. I haven't watched a single game. I haven't watched a minute of a single game. Because it is not me. Because it is not me. So I chip away at what is not me to leave what may possibly be me and what is definitely me. But the process of chipping away is called reflection. As an adult, you need to take time out. Spend time with yourself to find you. And you do that through the process of reflection. Okay? And so, on a regular basis, daily, weekly, monthly, I take time out with my journal and go somewhere quiet and ask myself some questions. What do I like? What don't I like? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Is it possible that the things I like and the things that are my strength could be packaged for impact globally? Is it possible that the things I like and the things that I'm good at, I could monetize it and make an income? Is it possible that the things I like and the things I'm good at could be weaponized for the good of my nation, or the good of Africa, or the good of the world?
Absolutely. So clearly, there can be a positive mindset, there can be a negative mindset.
Absolutely.
Okay. So twofold question.
Yes, go on.
Because I'm trying to max, as much as I can from this conversation. So, I mean, how do I determine what my mindset is? How do I determine that I have a positive mindset or I have a negative mindset? And I mean, when I do this reflection and I come to some conclusion, how do I now change my mindset if I find that perhaps I have a faulty mindset?
Okay, so the equation is very simple. Action, reaction. If you don't like the reaction, check the action. Very, very simple. So if your outcomes are suboptimal, it means the action is suboptimal. Okay, it's Newton's law. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. Okay, so the greater the reaction, by necessity, must be the greater the action. The greater the effect must of necessity be that you had a great cause. Cause, effect, action, reaction. If you don't like the outcomes, it means the input is wrong. If you don't like the input, then change the input and tweak it to see what outcomes or outputs you get. You know what I say? Garbage in, garbage out. So you always test the outcomes. Always test the effect. Always test what you get on the opposite side. And is it positive? Is it impactful? Am I getting the greatest good, the greatest number for the longest time? If not, what is the kind of utility I want on the outcomes? If I'm not getting the outcomes, it means the input is defective, is suboptimal. And that is how you check.
But you see, and here's the thing. I find, you come across some behavior, and it just makes you wonder if this human being, this me being nice is okay, right? You come across, and you're just like, what is wrong with this person? It will definitely have to start from, the mindset.
Yes.
So I dare say there are people who do not have a positive mindset, who do not know that they don't have a positive mindset.
Okay. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know. That is one. And to quote Donald Rumsfeld, he said, there are known knowns, there are known unknowns, and there are unknown unknowns. And you see, when you get into the realm of the unknown unknowns, then you use something called the Johari window. Known to me, known by others, known by us, unknown by all. And so the Johari window is a device or a framework that allows you to take soundings from people outside of you to say, what am I like? Who am I? What do you like about me? What don't you like about me? You know, when you and I engage, you tell me, oh, Theodore, come, let's talk, because you always give me insight. That is insight from you, adding for me to my knowledge in my Johari window. That allows me to know that, okay, I am on the right track. Okay, so yes, the mindset can be positive and the mindset can be negative, but ultimately the mindset is being used to make choices and decisions for positive impact. Therefore, if the impact is neutral or the impact is negative, then it must of necessity come out of a sub-optimized mindset. Because sometimes you take action for a good cause, and yet you get a bad outcome. And so I wouldn't always say that when you get obtain a negative outcome, it comes out of a malign mindset. Okay, but it is for us, because we have agency, to tweak the action which is derived from the mindset to get a better outcomes, or better impact.
Forgive me for sounding so simplistic, but what I take from that immediately is that I have to constantly give genuine feedback. That's what I take, because I think that we are all interconnected. We are all, and we all shape. So if I work with you, if I know you, if I'm related to you, if I'm going to have any kind of, if you're going to impact me in any kind of way, then I need to keep giving you genuine feedback. Because that comes back, isn't it? Because that's the way that we take. I don't know the technical terms that you use, but that helps me shape my mindset and that of who I am, and that helps the next person, shape their mindset of who he is. So I'm taking this on as the socialization bit of, so there's the inside job of reflecting and knowing, but for the outside job of us external people or external people, telling you who you are. And I think that it's important that all of us be genuine and say the truth, and keep like I keep telling you how awesome you are. I just have to keep hitting on that. You're awesome, because that is the truth, right?
That is the truth. You see, what you create is a feedback loop.
Right, a feedback loop.
You create a feedback loop, and that feedback loop is a virtuous cycle. So rather than having a vicious cycle which is downward going, you create a cyclonic virtuous cycle which goes up and up and up. So as you give me the feedback, I can feed forward better and brighter and bigger, because I'm now cutting away the things you don't want, and I'm focusing on the things you want. So using the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule, they say 80% gives us 20%, and the 20% of what we do gives us the 80% impact. So as you begin to feed back to me, I will cut away until I'm left with the genuine 20% that allows me to give you 80% benefit. Okay, so being able to give me feedback also creates greater self-awareness for me. Remember, we are trying to find me, you. Okay, we are finding me and you. And so, yes, you will go away and reflect, but you also need to take soundings from the people around you in your environment. There's something I've missed out, so I'd like to add that. Having collected all of that data, information set, I'll say this, that as individuals, we are finite beings swimming in a river of infinite information. We are finite human beings swimming in a river of infinite information. Okay, and so how do I know that the information I'm taking is quality information? If I'm sitting and I'm watching a soap opera every day, that is part of my 876 hours that I'm spending not becoming my optimized self. Okay? Not finding me, because I'm wasting time and I'm wasting my life. All right? So your socialization, your education, your tradition, the information then shapes your perception. And the perception is the lens through which you see the world. So your perception, if you like, is my glasses colored yellow. And yellow then means that everywhere I look, everything is yellow. If I color it blue, everything I look is blue. Okay? And so my interpretation, remember, the mind is your device for navigating your environment. Okay? So my interpretation of the world is colored blue. Okay? But because I am swimming in an infinite ocean of information, it means that I must continually refine my lens, my perception. And one of the quickest ways of refining that lens is to model. And when I say model, don't ask how, ask who. So if you're looking for success, ask who has done it, and then model. Otherwise, you will swim in that ocean of infinite information and never get to your destination.
So is that what we call mentorship?
So mentoring is a way of modeling. Okay? The mentor says, this is how I did it, go and do likewise. And that is excellent. But sometimes you do not have the opportunity to meet Barack Obama or meet Nelson Mandela. And so as
Michelle Obama.
Michelle Obama. So as Charlie Munger.
Michelle Obama and Winnie Mandela.
Winnie Mandela. And so as Charlie Munger says, have conversations with the eminent dead. It means that you can have a cabinet of people who have gone before you, people who are still alive, and say, what would they do? So in my cabinet, I have, for example, Jesus Christ, I have C.S. Lewis, I have Will Durant, and I have Napoleon in my cabinet. And I ask the question, what would Napoleon do? What would C.S. Lewis do? What would Will Durant do? What would Jesus the Christ do? And so you begin to model. You begin to model. And by modeling, you begin to shape your mind and set it. You begin to set your mind. And of course, in our former conversation, I told you that when John the Baptist went out into the desert, his clarion call was repent. And in the Greek, is metanoia, which means change your mind, change your set mind, change your mindset. And when Jesus the Christ came, he also said, repent. Right? So Jesus the Christ and John the Baptist were about one thing and one thing only: change your mindset.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. The biggest, I'm looking at time. The biggest thing that I find, and let me speak about, the next generation after my generation, the younger ones, is a lot of them have, role models that they are modeling, and sometimes you find their choices, and so it takes me back to a conversation we had earlier, on the show. Must have been the first conversation or the second conversation we had, first conversation, where, we came to, you explained that ultimately your existence should serve a higher purpose.
Yes.
That there should be, something beyond you, something ultimately so great,
Yeah.
wonderful,
Yeah.
about your existence? I think that once you answer that question, then who you model becomes easier.
Absolutely.
doesn't it?
So that's why this finding you is important, because once you find you, you will find a similar you. I don't like football, so when I define myself, I don't define myself with football. I like reading, so when I define myself, I'm looking for heroes who like to read. I like looking for heroes who like to write. So Jesus didn't write any books, but when you look at Napoleon, he wrote. When you look at Will Durant, he wrote. When you look at C.S. Lewis, he wrote extensively. All right. So I am trying to model the optimized version of me. Once I find me and I know that me likes to read, me likes to cook, me likes to paint, me likes to write, then I go and find other me's who have done the same thing.
At 1,000.
And so you can get, and then because the other me's have done it and done it very well, when I collect them, I have wisdom of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 years. So, they say some people live a lifetime in a minute. Other people live a minute in a lifetime. And so you have the opportunity to gather 10,000 years of wisdom in a week or in a month. We all have smartphones. If you want 1,000,000 years of wisdom, you only simply go onto the internet and you will find it. And you can apply it. But first, you need to know me, who you are. And that is why it is critical. And once you have found you, then you can define you. Because any object, entity, which has no definition, has no meaning, and therefore has no purpose. Okay? And ultimately, by finding you, you begin to find your purpose. Remember, there's only one you. And it will be a tragedy, I repeat, tragedy, to have lived, no, to have died, and never to have lived. And living is a verb. So there is intentionality behind it. You don't become a couch potato. You don't just slouch. You must go at it and seize the moment and seize the opportunity. Because we don't know whether this is the only time we get to spend together. And that's why you must optimize it and maximize it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now my question. I love the verb. I love that you say life is a verb, So you do, you be, you optimize, you maximize, you make it magical. And you explained again in some other conversations that we had that life is art. So in everything that you do, make it beautiful.
Yes.
And it's stuck with me.
And I say that everything can be elevated to an art form.
Right.
Everything.
Okay, so can mindset be a verb too? Mindset, can that be a verb? Is it behavior? Is there something that I can do, or is it just, I don't know if you're something.
Set your mind. Mind your set. Mind your mind. Mind your mind. Find your mind. Refine your mind. Set your mind.
It's an action.
Mindset is a verb.
Definitely a verb. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
The privilege is all
always
mine.
A pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Privilege is all mine.
Today, mindset. We are setting our mind. We are minding our...
So, you are finding your mind. and then you're minding your mind. And then you are mining your mind while you refine your mind.
Absolutely.
And then you go back into the loop.
Back into the loop. Back
to
into
find
the loop.
your mind.
To find your mind. To find your mind. Mind your mind. Mine your mind. Refine your mind. I love it. Thank you so much.
The privilege is all mine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so,
very much.
viewers, this has been a session with lawyer, thinker, coach, D. Theodore Albright. The show continues. Stay with us.
Are you searching for the perfect venue to host your next event? Look no further than Mirror's Event Plus. Discover the epitome of sophistication with our Skybox Event Center. This indoor marvel offers spacious hall area accommodating up to 500 esteemed guests. This beautifully designed space can be tailored to suit various event types, from weddings and corporate gatherings to cultural celebrations and more. We give you a kitchen space where your culinary creativity takes center stage, from gourmet feast to delectable treats. Our kitchen is the heart of flavor and delight. Our luxurious washrooms ensure comfort and convenience for all attendees, as well as maintaining the elegance of a special day. Our breathtaking waiting area is designed to make a lasting impression, while our top-of-the-range changing rooms are befitting of the VIPs of your event. Experience nature's charm at Tichiwa's grounds. Host an unforgettable outdoor event at the spacious and beautiful Tichiwa grounds, featuring a large lawn or terrace area capable of accommodating up to 700 cherished guests. Our changing rooms also provide privacy and ease for your special guests. Call us now on 030-341-6266 or 053-029-6067. Mirror's Event Plus, where celebrations come to life.
Welcome back to the show. That was the first half of our conversation. Now we get into the second half of our conversation. For this second half of the conversation, we are staying on love, on relationships, on marriage, on all the things that keep us also energized for a fruitful, full, meaningful life. Today, our topic for conversation is addressing the epidemic of singlehood in our times. So our keyword there would be singlehood. Singlehood, right? We are going to try to address the epidemic of singlehood in our times. And doing this with me, are my peoples from Marriage Link, those conversations that you have enjoyed so much and have given so much feedback about. Well, they're here. And hopefully they're going to be here for a long time. We're going to dedicate, the second half of our Tuesdays to all things love, all things marriage, all things, edifying, your emotions and things like that. So this will be a great time to take all their numbers, take all the feedback that you can, to give us the feedback that you get from the conversations. They are very happy to, answer all your questions and address, all of your concerns. let me introduce them. I have with me in the studio Mr. Dixon MP, CEO, Marriage Link, official part.
Afrin kometu yeda.
Thank you. That's to say now, friend, sir.
Fat. So the idea. Miss Ghana or Hanko so
Also, we have Counselor Perfect, a certified counseling psychologist, looking radiant as always. Official part.
Afrin kometu, and thank you. You are looking splendid.
I'm learning from you. I'm learning from you. The issues are a lot. I mean, when we say singlehood, of course, there's the one that has never been married, there's the one that is divorced, you know, there are the issues of male women, you know, so many issues. I'm hoping that we are going to unpack all of these issues. We decided to split this conversation into two. So we have the first half of the conversation, we'll come and have the second half of the conversation hopefully next week. But there's a lot to talk about. And you are the right people to talk to, right? Marriage Link, registered company dealing with all things love and marriage and wonderful. Right next to Pan African TV.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's. I'm excited. I need to calm myself, right? Right. I mean, you are a company that deals with issues of love and marriage and singlehood and things like that. So, I mean, you have the facts and figures, right? So I want to start the conversation with you giving us the facts and figures around the issues of singlehood. You know, let's take to Ghana. This is our home. Let's stay here. In Ghana, you know, technically speaking, statistically speaking, what are the issues?
Thank you. But before I come to the facts, my CEO, my boss, is going to give you the facts and all that will come in. But when you talk about singlehood and epidemic, you see, singlehood is when you talk about you being single, you are not married. You want to get married, or you are a divorcee. So if you are a divorcee, you also fall into singlehood. And if you are a widow, looking for partner and all that, so we have this category: the one who has never been married before, the one who has married, is divorced and is part in the pool. Then we also have the divorced people. The one we talk about epidemic, we are talking about an outbreak. So formerly it wasn't like this, but now from our research, Marriage Link conducted is showing us that this is now the trend. We have people who don't want to be married again. And when you take the age and the stats, we are going to break everything down for our viewers to understand, to know that we are a company that we have facts and figures, and when we talk, we back it with it. You know what we are saying. So we are talking about this range of people, and why are people not getting married at certain level, and we take the females and the males into perspective. So if you take the male, it's different. If you take female, it's different. And realize that because of our makeup and our culture rules and all that, it will be different. So we go into it. My boss will start with giving us the figures.
So you have done the research.
Yes.
We
Perfect.
We have done a survey, and then also more importantly, relying on the database that we have. As you know, we have both men and women who have signed up with us looking for marriage partners, because that's what we do, or one of our main products. And we went into the database to assess the various profiles and made some startling discoveries, not unexpected, because some of these things are culturally induced or informed. In our societies, the time women start looking for husbands and the time men looking for wives sometimes differ. So that is what we have done as a marriage company, who are helping people to find partners to marry, and then also help them prepare and sustain their relationships. Sometimes we have to go into the data. So this is largely based on the people who have signed up with us, people who are talking to us, and then people that we have asked questions also too.
So please talk to us. Let's know what the findings are saying. What are the facts and figures saying? Why is there an epidemic of singlehood lately?
Yes, like Councillor Perfect mentioned, these days, many people who are married are breaking up to become singles for various reasons. Then we have those who want to marry, who are not getting the right partners. And so, when society began in our communities, you would find that families who marry into other families, sometimes led by the parents. Oh, now mommy no papa kowarobi, and then not bro. Sometimes we don't even have a say, and they do their own background search. So this house, if there's a madness in that house, somebody who has suffered some mental problem, they will not let their kids go in there. These days, because of revolution of society, social media and all of that, we are able to do it on our own. I don't need my mom or my dad to go and look for a wife or for me. And so now it has become liberalized. As a result of that, we are discovering that many people want to take that important step of getting married. But as we have pointed out in the past, either you are lucky to have met somebody at church, at a program, being introduced by another person, or accidentally bumping into somebody and taking numbers. But when you want to marry and you don't meet anyone through these means, how do you find a partner? And that is one of the main tasks that we perform in our company. And through that, people have come to us, many people, both men and women, looking for people with certain profiles, some of which would mention, and those are factors that matter when you want to marry, because there's a difference between marriage and dating. And it is from this database that we are discovering that if you look at the age groups for both females and males who want to marry, the females start early, more than the men, the males, right? And we have found out the reasons, some of the causative factors, the things that are leading to this problem. Some are cultural in nature, some are economic in nature, and some of them will go into. So for instance, you would find that as early as 22 years, between 22 and 28 years, the people we have in our database, 11% of them are females who want to get husbands. 22 to 28. If you compare that with the males,
7%.
it is only 7%. What that tells you is that more women want to get married between 22 to 28 as opposed to men who want to wait. And the reasons we'll go into, some of them are very obvious. If you take a figure like 46 to 55 years, 46 to 55 years, and I think the data is on the screen. 16% of women that we have in our database are between 46 to 55 years. But look at it, it's 25% for men.
For men.
That confirms the fact that men want to marry at a later age as opposed to women who want to marry early. And by 46 to 55 years, if you are not married as a woman, the bus is almost leaving you.
46 to 45.
To 55.
Right.
So any age from 46, everybody will get their heart's desire anyway. But the message we're putting across is that please try not to get to that age, because the bus will possibly leave you and it becomes difficult if you want to marry as a woman and you are more than 46. And there are many reasons that account for that. But men can marry even after 55. You see, so more men in that age bracket, 25% of the men are between 46 to 55. Whereas women is a lesser number. But when you go down, more ladies want to start early. The men rather are waiting. That is the picture we are getting. So when we go through the discussions, we'll see some of the reasons that account for this.
Well, let's go. We are in the discussion. Going inside the discussion already. Let's go.
So when you take 29 to 35 years, you have 31% of women who are ready to get married or want to get married, and the men, surprisingly, is 43%.
Right.
So this is telling us that most men are ready from 29 to 35 years.
Right.
They want to settle down. They want to start a family. So if you are a lady, and you know that men mostly go for younger, they go for younger. So if you are targeting, then you are targeting 29, 35. So when you are around 22, 28, you should target that bracket. They are more ready. But if you want to target your own 22, 28 column that you are in, it's just 7%. You are 11. So there's excess of that number. So you need to look what's up. And as you were saying, we also have the 56 to 71 age group. And the women, we have 2%, and the men, we had 0. So meaning that if a lady within this period, it's difficult for you to get hinged to a man. Because mostly, even if they are looking, they are not looking for their own age. They want a younger blood. You understand? Somebody who will excite them and all that. So if a lady, it hovers on you that you need to get certain things fast. You need not to wait for certain time. Although God will share, everybody will going to get his, but you know that certain things you need to be realistic about it.
Oh yes.
You need to be strategic about it.
Yes.
In life, everybody is that. So Marriage Link, we are here to help you to be strategic and plan so that you can get a partner. Because as my boss was saying, you realize that it's not like the former days that you can just pay people. Your parents will pay people for you. Now, if you go to school, you are in the university, you are in the tertiary school, and you don't get yourself somebody, and you come out, it becomes difficult. Because it seems everybody is in a relationship. Unless somebody is, there's a breakup and you go into fits, overtaking, yeah. So what we are saying from what we have is telling us a lot. And when you even go to the parenting side, you realize that for the ladies, for 29 to 35 years, you realize that the percentage that have children or that have with a child or with children is above 20%. So 25 to 30% of ladies in that period, that 29 to 35, already have a child, but they are not married. So that is where the BOM1, our local balance, comes in. But when you go to that of the males, yes, you realize that no, so the first one is when you go to 22 to 28, most men don't have any child. But when you go to that of the female, the 22 to 28, you are having about 20% of females having a child. And you see, when a child comes, the dynamism is, I don't have a child, but you have a child. I'm entering marriage with this responsibility, going to take off somebody else's child. So maybe you have one, you have two, and you want to get married. That is the time that you need not to hold to that standard as the scriptures that you are holding on to. I want take tall, I want man with this, I want this pass, I want somebody who loves me, and all the daydreaming. You must scatter down, because reality must set in for you, because you are coming with added baggage, and most young men will not be willing to enter life, to start life with that financial responsibility on them. So going forward, you realize that a lot of the men, when it comes to 29 to 35, with the female, that is also about 15 to 10%, 10% to 15% also have child or they are with children. When you get to the male, realize that from 36 to 45, so theirs differs. So 36 to 45, they have a child, and they want a partner, they want to get married. But this is it. You see, if you're a lady and you are entering marriage with a child, it's quite dicey than a man. A man can have 2 children, 3, 4, but they will find love. It's easy for them to find love. It's easy for them to find a man, a woman who is willing to take care of the children and all that. But if you're a lady and you have children, your chances become so slim. So if we're a lady, you know that certain decisions, if we are taking them, you must be realistic with it.
Right.
You can't just compare yourself to the man, that the man is having 4 children, so I also have, he should just love me. He might have 4, but want just a lady who is having just 1, or a lady who is not having any child at all. But you can't have 4, 3, 2, and say you want a guy who is not having any child.
So can I paraphrase all you're saying?
Yeah.
All you're saying is that when it comes to marriage, the circumstances are different for men
Yeah.
and women.
Yeah.
A woman's situation is different from the man's situation.
Yes.
What I am taking from what you're saying is that as a woman, perhaps if you want all of your fantasies met, start early.
Yeah.
Start early.
Yeah.
Start early.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very good advice.
And some men, some of us, become selfish even in the search. For instance, we have men in our database who are married, who were married before, are now single, they have kids, and they will tell you that even though I have kids, I want a woman without kids.
It's a man's world.
Yeah.
It's a man's world.
And then, you know, it's like, but what, if you have kids, why wouldn't you also want a woman who also comes with kids? Some are willing to compromise and say, okay, I have my kids, let her bring her kids and then we add them. So if you have three already, you start with a family of 6. And the economic situation and all of that. So we discovered, for instance, some of the reasons that were accounting for the disparity in terms of when men want to marry and all of that. I did mention the economic situation. Generally, we say that men bear the bigger cost, share of the budget.
Still.
If you are the modern lady and you are well resourced,
Well, but you see, what he's saying is the actual ideal and the best that we always preach out. Because if you want to do 50-50 with your wife, your partner, your authority is going to be questioned. You can't have the same authority as the man who is taking care of the house, like doing greater aspects. So you being a man, you must provide greater than the wife.
So we are still talking ideal. I'm only asking about realistically. Like
realistic.
Generally, men are supposed to
do that.
Yeah.
They in fact, from the Bible perspective, when God was punishing Adam and Eve, if you remember, he said, you the man, you have to go and till the land, carry a hoe, go and break that hard land. And the woman's punishment was to carry the child for 9 months, right? Every man, it is your duty to, feed the family. If you are lucky to have a woman who is supporting, it's just a bonus.
She's supporting, not
to take over or not for you to share.
I appreciate that. My only concern is that I correct me, you are the experts. I tend to think that presently, even though this would have been ideal in our homes, perhaps this is not what is happening.
Because we are having this conversation in Accra.
Yeah. Okay, I stand corrected.
If you went to the rural, areas,
you are the expert. I'm not going to
if you
argue.
went to the rural areas, except in homes where maybe it's purely farming, even then, every man, you must feel manly.
Right.
And one of the things is to be seen to be leading.
Right.
Let the woman spend her money on the makeups, the clothing, and all those things.
Soft life.
Yeah, you
Soft
provide
life.
the main, right? So many men understand this responsibility. That if a woman is supporting, it's a bonus. But you have the responsibility, the main responsibility, to provide for the family. As the head of the family, you are not the head for the fun of it, right? Then culture also expects men to be older than women in most cases. So if you have 2 people, a male and a female, who are the same age, chances are that the man will delay in getting married as opposed to the woman, because the woman around in the mid-20s, that's the ideal time to start having your kids, right?
Mature earlier.
Yes.
Mid-20s.
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 Counselor started in the mid-20s. By 30, she was done with 3.
Done. Wow. So these are the conversations we need to be having. Oh. We don't have these conversations.
And now, if you see how she's looking, you think that she's a young lady anyway, but then she can do anything because she's done with the kids.
Yeah.
But if you delay, as your body, becomes a bit weaker, and that's when you start, having children. That also comes with its own challenges. The men know that they can even marry any age, at any age. A man can be 70 and marry and have children. A 70-year-old man can have a child, right? But how many women will be 70 and will be able to have kids?
A biological clock.
It's ticking, right?
The doctors now say it starts from 35. That's what the latest reports are saying.
Because of the food we are eating.
Now from 35.
It's difficult.
Yeah. No, you see, 35, your ovaries, even if you don't take care, you have children who have mental health issues. That is where you have the abnormalities and the rest. So we advise that if you are not ready to give birth, because of career, whatever you are not ready, it's better you freeze your ovaries so that when you are ready, when you are younger, so around 20, 22, 24, 25, freeze them. When you are older, then you go for them and you can have the healthy children. So because some families also have early menopause, you might not know. So if you are from a family that around 32, 33 have menopause, it means you can't give birth again. And a lot of things happens to your body when you are experiencing menopausal symptoms. So it's better that if a woman, you start early. And the standard that you raise, you see, women, we are like flowers. When you are younger, you are all, you see, the guys come, you blossom and all that, but still, we are still who we are. We are more beautiful. Yes.
We are equally handsome.
So we are still here. But you see, when they are young, you see how youthful it is. So you get a lot of suitors. So that time you can have all the standard that you want. But if you realize that you don't start early, you can't have that standard as a young person. For them, somebody who is 22, 23 can just use 4 years to do search for a guy, can study a guy for 4 years because their age, at least it's okay. But when you are around 35, 40, you don't have that luxury of time to use 4 years to study just one person, and it doesn't work out. So that's where we come in. We have already done everything, do the search and everything for you with the data you have given us, and we are going to pay you. So that long courtship and dating and all that is being cut off. So we have already helped you to take that bold step. Because if you're a woman, this is quite important. You see, you give birth, you do other things. So if you know that you are going to get married in future, and you have all this tall list that you want, you must start right. Don't start doing things that you realize that are not, to say, irrelevant. Start right. Date people that you know that is going to lead to marriage. If you date them and you realize that what they are saying is not the best, don't date somebody for 8 years, 10 years, 12 years and waste your time. Because we don't have that luxury of time. Men have it, we don't. So it's better you study the person. This person will not help me, cut it off. This person will not help me, cut it. It's better to date a lot of people to know the type that you want. Then you meet the person, stick to them and let them work. And here is, you won't get everything on your checklist. That's where the compromise comes in. So that you'll be able to, at least in your mid-20s, you'll be able to start a family and do. But it's not everybody who is going to get that luxury because of schooling, financial, home background. But you must have that in mind so that as you prepare with marriage, you start learning about marriage, you know what you want, so that you don't get to around 30 before you are discovering even who you are, for you to discover who you want.
Right.
Because it's not a try and error thing in marriage.
Right.
Or else you go, you have the children, and when the divorce comes in, if you are single, if you don't have any child, it's quite easy. You can just walk away. But if children are involved, you need to consider them. So realize that most people are in marriage It's not working, but because of the children, they are there. So this is where we come in. We don't want you to have that divorce.
Right.
So rather get it right. This single epidemic that is going on, Marriage Link, we want to help Ghana to solve that issue. So we have all the facts and figures from our database.
Let's go back. Let's unpack. So, I mean, a few things we need to understand. You've given us the facts and the figures. It looks as though more women want to marry earlier than men. We've discussed that. There are good reasons why. You are not the same as a man when it comes to marriage as a woman. We need to appreciate that.
You have expiry date.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm big on, you know, women empowerment but
no, expiry date.
It's still a man's world, unfortunately.
Yes.
And I mean, I think that in a marriage, there's a lot more riding on the woman than on the man. We are more, you know, emotional.
Yeah.
A lot of the work is on you, the woman. There's so much. So get it right. Get it right from the beginning. You are saying that for the woman, it's better to start early for very good reasons. Childbirth, expiration date, you know, get the right one. You are the one that would, you know, suffer if
The
things
biological,
don't go well.
medical situation.
So many reasons why. But you're also saying this, and that's why I want to stay on right now. You're also saying that, I mean, what's the point of going through 20 men before you find the one, right? What's the point of kissing 28 frogs before you find the frog?
Yeah.
There are some conversations that by yourself you cannot have.
Yeah.
Because of our cultural setup, because of our human relations and things like that. Hand it over to the experts.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Hand it over to the experts.
Yeah.
Tell them what you want. You have the database. You have a wide range of men.
Yeah.
You can eliminate some factors that we can't. For instance, sickness.
Yeah, man.
Somebody will date somebody for 3 years before she realizes, oh, he's SS.
Yeah.
If you had gone to Marriage Link, 3 years, you won't put 3 years down the drain.
Yeah.
It would have been
Solved. Yeah.
one time for your mind.
And that is precisely the reason we exist.
Exactly.
When it comes to finding a marriage partner. Because we are dealing with marriages, not necessarily dating. Even though we know every marriage will begin with a bit of dating or courtship. But the situation we're dealing with is people who are ready to marry. People who are ready to marry. And when somebody is ready to marry, the way they think, the way they organize themselves, those are different from when somebody is just having fun. Dating, you're looking at how pretty, how, you know, romantic the person is looking.
Swag.
You know?
If my swag compliments his
Exactly. So all those things that matter most in deciding on the person to marry are the things that we do the research on. People fill the forms and indicate in their profile their age, so you don't stand the risk of meeting a man who will end up going out with you for long, and every day you keep asking him, how old are you? And he says, wait, for a man I must hide something. You know, men feel like we must have something mysterious a bit. Don't open up too much. The genotype. Are you AS? Am I A? These are all factors you need to know right from the beginning before you know this is going to lead to marriage. Where they come from. Have they been married before? Do they have kids before? Other than that, if you met somebody and you started asking these questions up front, they will just
get the answers. I remember a story I heard recently where, you know, the guy hid a very vital information from the lady. I think the fact that he had been married and had kids, he didn't tell her.
Yeah.
She got to know much later on when she was so invested. I think he had already done the engagement or something.
Wow.
And the man's reason was that when we met and we were having a conversation, you told me that it's a no-no for you. So I couldn't tell you. Because if I tell you, then it means that
you won't. But in our case, you can't hide that because
right. But if it's a technical machine, thing that's happening, that information will be put in right in the beginning. You won't have to find out 5 years down the line
and before.
You know. let's not waste time. If somebody's watching right now and the person is interested, oh, I'm tired of being single. Actually, no, I have a question before that. Why? I mean, we are talking about singlehood as an epidemic, you know. What are the advantages of not being single? Why? I mean, let's say I'm watching this show. I'm in the house and I'm single. And I'm just single. Why is it important that I need to work towards taking myself out of this epidemic?
You see, being married comes with its own benefits. First of all, marriage is for companionship. So you have a reliable companion, somebody you share your woes with, your happiness and everything with, somebody you can be naked with, not just your body, but you can bear your soul to them. That one person in the world, your personal person, that you know that in anything I can rely on them. So that is it. If you are single, you don't have that person. You don't have that guarantee. And marriage is also backed by law. The contract is there. So the person is even obliged by contract to be for you. The person is for you. So that's why I get married. I'm Mrs. Odro. So I identified myself with him. He also identified himself with me. So the companionship is great. Then we talk about marriage in our setup in the right sense is the best place to have children because of the security it gives the children, the emotional, psychological well-being and everything accepted by society. And you see,
they have a home.
Yes, they have the home.
Have a home.
Yes. So when you get married, belong somewhere. And you continue family, culture, generations from you. You are going to leave a legacy through these children from the home that you have. And one benefit is, you see, when you are in a meaningful and good marriage, we are not talking about just a good marriage, you glow. You see, you have the good parts of life. You are not just single again. Your eating is being taken care of. Your grooming and everything, because you have somebody when you are coming like this, say, oh, Amma, your neck, let me do it for you. Your tie, let me do it for you. You see, you have that feeling. You are being groomed, what you eat and everything is being taken care of. So your health-wise is on point. We all hear stories of people who are single, they lay in their bed and the next minute they are gone. But if your wife is beside you, at least you rub yourself. Can two be together without having the warmth? You see, even the Bible says that. And it says that the eagle part is in the sky, the serpent is on the rock, and the man's way is in the woman. And from the scripture, the Bible. So you see, it's also pleasure. It's that place that can have legal sex. Legal. So if we're not married and we're doing it, we all know that it's illegal and it's moral. Yes, but the marriage is legal. You must benefit.
That's what she's doing. Yeah. But you know,
she's stepping on their neck.
Yeah. I mean, say Ogu Ofiena or Maria and Mani Nyewahi. But at the end of the day, for me, apart from the flowery nature, I think marriage is a business relationship.
Yeah, that's why there's
I see marriage as a business relationship. Not about love and the heart and all of those things, right? I always tell people that is the truth. Because if you married when you were gainfully employed, if you lose your job and you don't look for another job, the woman or the man will leave you. So it's not about love. It's practical stuff. When there's divorce, or even when there's no divorce and there's a property or something in the relationship, you see everybody is thinking business, like what goes into their family, what goes into the other side's family. So at the end of the day, apart from the fun and the companionship,
the love,
and the love, if the love really exists, you know, it is still a business and social relationship.
Yes,
it's economic relationship. Because everybody and the reasons why they go into marriage, and many people, is the economic relationship.
No, but I mean, not even the way that you say, just the fact that there's somebody to share your costs with.
Yeah.
If your child's school fees is 1,000 cedis, at least if you're able to raise 600, there's somebody that can support you with 400. So to that extent, if you live in a house by yourself, you pay the rent by yourself. But if there are two of you, the two of you can share the cost. And so and I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's practical. I mean, if, especially the men, I have seen somebody who wanted a divorce because he says the man is lazy. When they started, he was working and near doing or yeah, Juma, he could do a bino. Almost banner the be bentino or relax. Because the woman is working, he doesn't want to do anything. And that becomes a ground for the woman to say, no. It's not about how much sex you can give, whether kissing. No. At the end of the day, you cannot go to the mall, pick items, get to the till, they pay, and tell you your bill is 1,000 cedis. So what for me? I have so much love. I don't have money, so allow me to go. With the love buy you the items. So marriage comes.
You see, yes, the contract part is there. That is why you see the both families come to sit and all that, and even you sign. So when even the man is owing, and it's not like the unlimited liability companies and all that. You, the lady, you are in a relationship with them. So when they say anything, you can also be called to answer and all that. So the business aspect is also, that's why I'm saying, if we are going to get married, you must check all the boxes that concerns you first. So if you are somebody who plan of having a company and all that, do you want a wife who can also help you to manage the company in eventualities of maybe divorce? What's going to, because I have prenup, so that when it comes to that time, you know that, and we have the legal aspect who are going to advise you, knowing that the properties that I come into marriage with is not part, the inheritance is not part, but what we acquire. Even if we acquire, and I can prove in court that you once you work a CBR, I'll not give half of everything to you. So
that's issues.
Yes,
you need to consider.
Yeah. So the legal aspect will help you to understand this.
And these are services you provide.
Yes.
Yeah, we have one of the questions on the profile. Salary range, just a range, your expectation. So if you want to marry a man that you think should earn between 2,000 to 3,000, you can indicate. But if you assess yourself or you think that you are the weaker party and you need somebody stronger, you have to indicate.
Absolutely.
So people are able to determine from the beginning the kind of people, partners they want.
Right. I have to say this. I have to say this. I believe in love. I'm romantic and all of that. But I have to say that it is these issues that can sustain the marriage or not sustain the marriage.
Yeah.
The love is wonderful.
Love is not
But
enough.
once you get into the marriage, it's some of these issues that would either keep the love
or break
or quench it.
Yeah.
We don't put some water in it or
Yeah.
to put
They are
kerosene
the main
in it. These are the
issues.
issues.
It's
And
not
so,
about the love.
at all. And so if you can deal with these issues directly, better for you. So again, come to the experts. Let the experts handle the real issues. Don't go in, with the butterflies in your stomach. So please, how does anybody look? I mean, if somebody's watching now, the person is like, oh my goodness, I need to meet them. Where does the person go?
So our offices are not very far from Pan-African
TV. Pan-African TV.
Just opposite Mawako restaurant. We have our staff ready to attend to people. Just walk in. Our numbers are also displayed on the screen. You can give us a call. We have beautiful staff who would attend to you. Then people should know we have a team of counselors. We have lawyers, we have the specialists, the clinical psychologists. We also have medical doctors we are working with. Because we realize that marriage sometimes has some little intricacies when it comes to medicine. You have to check your status, HIV and all those things. So we are working with partners, medical centers that are helping to, assess you confidentially. If the result is not good, they will find a nice way to either communicate to both of you or to one, and we find another nice way to let the other person know that this is not going to work. So people should give us a shout, call us, or walk into our offices and meet our great staff. Well,
I find the walk-in more effective.
Yeah.
You know, I always talk about the day that I walked into your office, right? It's because marriage link and a company that deals with marriage, it sounds a little. You know what I'm saying? So once I walk into the office, I'm like, okay, okay.
No, we actually encourage people to come.
Yeah.
You enter and you see the staff, we see the office space and all of that. You see that is serious stuff.
Yeah. Serious business.
Serious business.
Serious.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I have enjoyed myself. I cannot say enough to the young lady watching. Listen, marriage is serious business.
And the young men.
And the young men as well. But more the young ladies.
And the older men too.
It's serious business. It's serious business. So please, if there's anything that can help you navigate the process, absolutely. When I was in my 20s, marriage link did not exist. But hey, they exist today, So take advantage, and then, if you go there and you don't like what you hear, go away. It's not, but go. Definitely do that, and then, fingers crossed, you're going to walk away very, very, very happy. So next week we'll do the part 2 of the conversation. I hope you have enjoyed this show as much as I have. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a lovely evening. Bye.